Everyone, we are live again, Dynasty Mirror Search for a Guru. And I have a brother all the way from Mombasa, Kenya, brother Amenkrahh, Grandmaster Amenkrahh. Today's topic is now, Amenkrahh has been in Mombasa or in Africa now, living for the past, 27 years, Amenkrahh?
Yeah, 22 years now.
22.
22.
20 years, 22 years. Sorry about that. There's a feedback or echo on your end. Is there something on in the background, Amenkrahh?
I've just turned off the internet on another machine, so maybe it's.
Okay.
I don't see any echo now.
Okay. All right. So there was
22 years.
22 years.
22.
Yeah. There's like something. There's like feedback in the background. I don't know what it is. Are you watching the replay live?
No.
You're not. Okay. All right. Well, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it
How
moving.
about now? Because I've turned the machine completely off. The other machine. So.
Okay. Yeah. So I sent you the clip in regards to DJ Envy and Killer Mike talking about should you send your kids to public school or private school here in the U.S.
Yes, I saw it.
Now you've been in Africa for 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
So will public school in the U.S. or private school in the U.S. be a solution, or schooling your kid in Africa be the solution?
You see, the problem with the guy Envy, is it DJ Envy?
Right.
The problem is that he believes that everybody wants to be a millionaire in the United States. And this is something that's relatively new with a lot of these motivational speakers coming out and showing that they have wealth and you can invest in the real estate and this and that. And unfortunately, what Killer Mike was saying was true. Not everybody wants to be a millionaire. Many Black Americans just want to be okay. They just want to be able to not to worry about bills. They want to make enough money they can live comfortably, do what they want to do. But it's not necessary for them to go hunting for more and more money. They don't have this drive. Now, this drive is developed from the old. In my day, we used to have these music videos, and you remember them. They're still basically here today, where they're showing the nice house and the car and the woman's shaking their booty. Now, anybody that has intelligence can know that this has a psychological effect on someone who watches it, because it is what motivates you and makes you believe that this is what you want to be. And you be thinking that these U.S. rappers are successful, and Acorn had said it. He said that they do rap videos on these nice, expensive cars, but then they call it Uber after they finish the video. Right. They don't own these cars, But in Africa, he said, of course, which is true, the musicians own those type of cars and own those type of houses. Modern African is the way, and it's the only solution for us. So whether you go to public school or you go to private school, it really doesn't make a difference if you're still rooted in the United States. And this is my point on the issue. It doesn't make a difference. Envy can say, my child is doing this, my child is doing that. And one of the things that was disturbing when he was telling me that his child doesn't have to be worried about the hustle. The hostile environment.
Right.
Because he's rich. Or he's out of that hostile environment. Trust me, any Black person that's Black conscious in America knows that what a hostile environment is.
Repeat that again. Repeat that again.
Any Black person who is Black conscious, I know they're trying to make the term have negative connotations, but it still fits, knows that everywhere you go in America, if you're Black conscious, you're in a hostile environment. You're going to go to a party. The people ain't going to be thinking about Marcus Garvey and the pyramids and that type of thing. They're going to be drinking. They're going to be smoking. They're going to be getting high. And you, as a Black conscious person, you'll be finding yourself detached from that. You can't have a conversation with a beautiful woman and she's not Black conscious. because everything you would talk about would be basically alien to her, and she would see you as anti-establishment. I went through this, you see, and this is the case. So on the part of Envy's children, which we determined that his children were, well off. They were well off. They're also in a hostile environment, because the higher up they go on the economic ladder, and he said it himself, the less black people he sees. The less black people those children will see. They will have to mingle and interact with the upper class. And we all know by Dr. Anderson telling us, blacks own less than 1% of the country's wealth. So when your child that supposedly moves up into those areas, they're not going to be with black people. And they have to get along with white people. Because most of the majority of the rich, unfortunately, is white. So this is the problem. The solution is that he's given, still rooted in the United States, is the problem, because that child would have to make special decisions to say, I'm gonna have to get along with this white person, so I'm gonna have to denounce black violence and black gangs. I'm gonna have to get along with these white people, so I can't be talking about Marcus Garvey or any of that black history, that stuff. I have to even denounce it at some level. You see what I'm saying? They can't even have Marcus Garvey or any black pictures in their house, because their white friends would come and see it. This thing is very deep. It's a psychological problem, and it is a hostile environment, because if they are in their mind trying to be pro-black, because they look in the mirror, they see black every time. When they have to deal with people that are not black, how do they respond? And this is the problem, where that guy is talking. He's not talking reality, and Killer Mike even mentioned that he was not talking reality. So on the other hand, with Killer Mike, the problem still exists. Now, Killer Mike is going to try to say that the average African American family should take their kids to public school and it'd be okay, but it's not okay.
Well, what he was saying, Amarah, is that the public school he went to. So in Atlanta, you have public schools who are named after black leaders. So Douglas, MLK, Booker T. Washington, Benjamin May, so who are named after prominent black figures. So he was saying, being a young black kid going into a school that's named after a prominent black figure, that's empowering here in America.
Yeah, but what he's failing to tell us, even though Killer Mike, what he's failing to tell us in the reality of the situation today is that Atlanta is becoming gentrified.
True.
Gentrification is taking over Atlanta, and blacks are being pushed out. And whether they stay alive or not, the population of the ethnic background of the ethnic population of that school is going to change, because also Atlanta, and you know this too, it's changing. It's not. In fact, I read somewhere where Atlanta was like the third most gentrified state now, and it's becoming a horrible situation. But you know it because you live there. You see that black people are less and less. You see, you go someplace and and the blacks that you do see, many of them are turning into homosexuals. So this is not something that people want to talk about. They want to ignore. And this is what I'm talking about. This is why modern Africa is the only solution, because things are not going to get better. They're going to get worse. You can keep on pretending that America is going to take care of you. You can keep on pretending that you are an American in the first place, and you keep on pretending that your children are going to be better off than you were. But statistics don't lie. That's why I'm saying Malcolm X, go watch a Malcolm X speech. I'm just saying, go watch a Malcolm X speech. It is timeless. The same thing he's talking about then is the same thing that's happening today. He's talking about the crap about the politicians. He's talking about the statistics of blacks. Malcolm X in 1962 is saying that blacks are 12% of the population. And in 2019, we're still 12% of the population. I know it's not a comfortable thought, but I'm saying this is the reality. We are not growing in numbers in America. So how can we grow economically if our numbers are less? And Dr. Claude Anderson did the research. We are still at the same position we were in the 1870s. So I don't know where they're getting all of this money in the real estate thing. I don't know where they're all thinking like that's going to wear gold chains and nonsense like that. I don't know what they're thinking about, but I know the fact that the country is not conducive for our people. Meanwhile, I watched a video with you in Nigeria with that brother, that brother, huh?
Oh, who?
Yeah, and he was telling you
which with who?
Brother, that's the brother, the Black American guy.
John Castle
was telling you that Nigeria. I'm sure you remember when I mentioned it. Nigeria's population was something like 60, I can't remember the number, like 60, 70 million.
No, he came. Nigeria is almost 200 million now.
I'm saying, but he said when he came in the 1980s, it was so many million. Then he said it's now doubled since the 1980s. Now look at the population of Black Americans. Look at the population of American blacks, and we got the audacity to say we feel like we better off than the African. I'm in Kenya. The population is doubling. Yeah, it's like it's crazy. You know, I was working in 2005 when I was writing my book. I used to go to my ex-wife's house, and I had to walk across a field where it was a big football pitch, and then they had these cows grazing. They were doing dipping of cows. You know, and I thought that was a peaceful walk. You know, between my place and where her place was. And today, it's nothing like a field at all. It's all giant 5 and 6 story apartment blocks. I went there and I had got lost. I had to retrack my steps back to where I came from just so I could find my way to the place from the main road. So no, America is not like that for blacks. Our population is decreasing while the Hispanic or the Mexican population is continually growing. So somebody need to wake up. The solution for us is not in the United States. It is killing us economically and physically. The solution for us is to do exactly what our ancestors that were brought over here on the boat did. Our ancestors, when they were brought on the boat, the only thing they wanted was to what? When our ancestors were brought enslaved in this country, our ancestors, the first ones, coming off the boat, what did they want? They wanted to go back more than anything. They wanted to go back home to their country. And the African Americans today need to have that same type of mentality. You need to want to go back to where your people are, where the climate is conducive to your body, where the food is conducive to your body, where the people are in mentality of the people is not gayism, homolistic, not aggressive. So this is what I'm saying. You can't understand it while you're in America because America knows, and that is the reason why they spend billions of dollars on misinformation and propaganda about Africa. They have to do that because if you pound for pound knew the truth, and you judge yourself weighing both ways, and if the country would allow you to be able to afford it, you pick Kenya, you pick Africa. And the African is there creating modern Africa for you. He's basically it's perfect because it's only a step over to the same type of lifestyle you know in America.
Shout out to Holub Sism who's in the chat room. Holub says, man, where's his comment? Why is there this all or nothing mentality? I support Killer Mike. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm saying you can support it. That's fine. But your children are everything. You see? Your children are everything. So we live by nature to reproduce ourselves, isn't it? And by Killer Mike was saying himself, there was gangs, there's Crips and Bloods, there's drugs, there's racism, there's gayism now, there's all these factors that are attacking our children. and we're not, you know, we're acting like that's okay because those things are not here in Kenya. In fact, don't let me be the one to tell you. Huh? In fact, let me come. My son is here, born in Kenya. Let him sit down. Can you just talk to him for a minute? You can just see him. This is Amin Jr.
What's up, Amin Jr.?
This is my product from when I came to Kenya. This is what it's all about. It's not about me. He's now living with me. He just finished high school. He's not going to college. He's sitting with me, and I'm mentoring him in the family business. You see? Say hi to Dennis.
Hi, Dennis.
How are you? Amin Jr. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Nice to see you. How is Kenya?
Kenya is very fine.
Do you ever want to come to America?
No, I don't ever. I like my country the way it is. I don't think I want to come there.
Okay. Yeah, but okay, young number 1K, not on the level as there is here in America. Amara, are you there?
Yeah.
Young number 1K says there are gangs and drugs in Africa. Stop sugarcoating, but not to the level of what's here in Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I understand that they're going to come and say that Africa is bad, but that's just a goddamn lie. It's nothing compared to what it is. America is the #1 murder capital of the world. Stop right there. America is the #1 murder and drug and rape capital of the world. Okay? So anything you do outside of America is beneficial to you. Now you're gonna go, I know they're gonna be the Negroes, they're gonna be there and they're gonna start talking about they gotta put their propaganda there, but that's all propaganda lies. My son is sitting in this chair. You can ask him any question. Do you know what racism is? Have you ever experienced it? No. Have you ever experienced it? Do you know what a Crip in the blood? No. You see, in less than one generation, you can produce a child that doesn't have to go through the trauma or the, what do you call it? The horrors of American life for the African American. It's just immediately after you bring your children or you have children here, all that is gone. I'm sitting here today. I don't have none of the problems that you had. I didn't know about Killer Mike till today. You mentioned it to me. And the politics in the United States, who follows that? You see, I don't have to follow that because I'm not going to vote because I'm not going to get benefits from it, and neither are many of the black people that's in the country going to get the benefits. Now this is like it's not popular, but for that propaganda that they can come and spread, talk about Africa is bad. I'm putting my son in this chair for you to talk to him and say, how? How is that? Well, if he was in the United States, imagine the kind of talk I would have to have with him. You're a minority, in a foreign country. We were slaves. We built the first car, but they wrote that out of history. We did so many things. And you understand what I'm saying. So I'm saying that modern Africa is the only solution, and that is why they propaganda so badly, when most of it is not true. That's why I come on your show to try to tell people that the whole issue is mute. The whole issue of this thing of talking about education with Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar wants to build a school. I think he's going to open it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that here in America?
4 days it'll be here. But I'm saying, so he's going to create all of these black conscious and black aware students, and then he's going to send them out into the U.S. where the majority of the people that they're going to deal with are Negroes and they're not black conscious. It's like a harsh. They're going to have to compromise everything that they was taught. He's going to say we're not going to have pressed hair. We're going to only have natural black hair. And then the guy graduating from college is going to go to a job interview with the natural hair, and people that's going to interview him are going to be white. And they're gonna look at that and say, like, that's a mark off. Then when they see the school that he went to, Frederick Douglass School, if they don't know if Dr. Umar, they're gonna quickly find out. So no Fortune 500 company gonna hire them, basically. You see what I'm saying? So they're going to be entrepreneur. If you're going to be an entrepreneur in the United States, like Oprah Winfrey, let's say Oprah Winfrey, she's a billionaire, but all her money is connected to white people's money. You see, Michael Jordan, all his money is connected, so he cannot be pro-black. And people complain about it, you know, but that's the fact. You got to move along and get along, and this compromise takes place in the mental aspects of the mind. You know, so that is something that each black man has to deal with personally on his own. And I had to deal with it, and I totally refused, because when they screwed me when I got out of high school, and when they screwed me in LAPD, and when they continued to screw me, and I looked at the situation, and I didn't know. It was only when I became black conscious that I realized how much effort they were putting in to stop an intelligent black man. So then I went on and tried to test it to see, like, you know, if it's true. And sure enough, you know, it's true. You really cannot be successful in the United States. I don't care if you're talking about real estate and bullshit like that. You ain't gonna get past escrow, and you ain't gonna get too many banks that are gonna deal with you while you're black. See, and not to mention the fact that these guys that are talking about they're making it big in real estate. Even in the last month, they was sweating bullets when the stock market almost crashed. And tomorrow, General Motors is claiming to get ready to lay off 4,000 people.
Like 5,000 people.
Yeah, you know, you're gonna ignore the fact that the Titanic is sinking all you want. It's still gonna sink, and it's been sinking for 400 years. White people have been kicking our ass for decades. See, we're the people who was snatched from their homeland, brought into America into ungodly weather conditions, and told to work 6-7 days a week, and the threat of being killed for no money. And then when we was so-called given our freedom, we was given no money. We just was set free. Can you imagine, like Dr. Price was saying, he played Monopoly with his children. He said he decided he wanted to be the slave. So he played Monopoly, and he didn't take the $200 for the bank. So he just tried to go like that. And that's the same situation we were put in. He didn't last 1-2 times around the board before he was eliminated from the game. And that is how we got into Jim Crowism. And you know, today we got the new Jim Crow. And Michelle Alexander wrote a book about it. And one out of six brothers.
I haven't read the book yet, but I heard it's a very good book.
Yeah. So I'm saying we are talking and all these things, but no one wants to say the solution is outside of America. I mean, all the immigrants that come into America, because the situation in their countries isn't even half as bad as what they do us here in America, and they leave in their country in boatloads to come to the United States.
So what are your thoughts on that, Rahh? When you see you're telling Black Americans to come to Africa, but immigrants are at the border trying to get into America. So,
exactly.
So what are your thoughts?
What is allowing them, the immigrants, to come? But then it's not a large number. First of all, it's not a large number from you, because Europe ain't that big. So it's not a large number, and it's not like a great migration, but it's a steady flow. Like like people that are coming, like tourists that are coming. They bring in their money, or they're bringing not their money, but they're bringing their talents. The problem here is that, if you know, back in the early days of this thing of
hold on 1 second, Rahh. Let's get the likes up, everyone. We have 192 people watching, only 52 likes. Let's get the likes up. All right, go ahead, Rahh. Hit that like button.
Yeah, hit that like button. I know they want to hit the bad button too, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's we had this thing of bringing your huddled masses, to America, and they got pictures of the Statue of Liberty. People come in and they're starting their new lives, and America was guaranteeing them all this land and all this money to benefit them. But the whole key was that they could make money off of the black wealth. So the immigrants even today become the buffer between whites and blacks, but during that early time. And so you'd go to your store and it would be owned by a Korean, and then the Korean would have been set up with bank loans from the government. And this is the way America was bringing in immigrants into the country, based on the fact that they could make money off of our trillions of dollars of spending, off the black man's trillions of dollars billions of dollars of spending power. And we were happy to oblige them after they had murdered Martin Luther King, because we wanted to immigrate into white society at the detriment of our own basic black, cities and businesses. So, like Dr. Anderson clearly talks about it, because he was truly affected by it, that when the whites allowed blacks to come into their establishments, the black-owned businesses died out, and they have never recovered from that. So with the fact that with the major fact is, and this is important, because I'm hearing brothers still talking. They're saying the black community. Dennis, can you help me?
Go ahead.
Okay, where is the black community at today? Is there a black community in Harlem? I know there ain't one in Watts. Is there a black community now? Where is it? That's where the community is black. This is black. Everything is black. The city is like basically 90-80% black. Is there a place like that now?
I would say this, maybe Stone Mountain in Lithonia.
Maybe Stone Mountain, but damn sure ain't Motor City. It ain't Detroit, because they hired a white mayor because they felt there was no black that could run the city better than a white man. They thought if they put a white man as a mayor, whites would come and invest in there, and they sure did. They gentrified those guys right out of the center of Detroit. Put that bad water in there, and then and Flint, and blacks left and whites moving in, buying the land for cheap. And this is the reality of what's going on in the country today. Now, I'm always saying, the greatest enemy of the black man in America is Western mass media, news, propaganda, sports, and entertainment. And it's on this idiot box that we get ourselves educated. And then we regurgitate that nonsense back, including people, I'm sure, in the chat room talking about Africa's this got this problem, Africa got that problem. No, I've been living here 22 years. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. They was going back a few months, they was talking about the Chinese was going to take over the Mombasa port. I told them immediately, let that happen. It's never going to happen. So let me revisit that propaganda right now. Did they take over the Mombasa port? No, because it was propaganda. Did they take over the Zambian electric company? No, because it's propaganda. Did the U.S. send major military troops into Congo to help the Americans? No, that was a lie. It was propaganda. You see? And they have to put that propaganda lies there the same way they did when they took over Libya. To keep blacks from believing that America is what it really is. Because we look today, what's the major thing going on with the United States? It's Venezuela. But how many people in America, how many blacks in America know what's going on? Trump is backing an opposition leader who visited the United States. They found out that was true. He was secret visits to the United States. They were prepping him to take over Venezuela from the legitimately elected president of Venezuela. Jimmy Carter went for the elections and said the election was free and fair. So they're already saying he's a dictator, he's killing his people. The same thing they said about Gaddafi, so that they can have a reason to put this puppet into Venezuela and take over the oil reserves. But how much of that is in the mainstream media in the U.S.? How many blacks know that their country, these niggas, how many know their country is about to go in and take over Venezuela through the back door through a coup? It's not in major news, but all over the rest of the world, we get this news every day. And we see this thing that's happening. We know the real America. And it's the Western mass media propaganda that even what they keep from the American public what they keep from you guys on that side is terrible. I mean, it's I can't even find the words to describe it, because when they killed Gaddafi, I was like, I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think that Obama would go that low. But yes, he created a no-fly zone and murdered one of the best leaders in Africa. The only president in Africa that Nelson Mandela would get out of the house and go meet at the airport. He wouldn't meet any other president except for Gaddafi. And the things they did for his people were fantastic. It was the richest African country, and they destroyed it, America. You see, but it's not major news. We're going to be talking about Killer Mike and the public school issue. We're going to be talking about what's her name?
Who?
The female politician that's running for president.
Kamala Harris.
Mrs. Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. Yeah, we'll talk about that, but that's going to distract you for the fact that this is what America's doing on the outside. Trump talking about, America first, but he sure is paying a lot of attention to Venezuela and the things that are going on there. And this is what I'm saying. We can, Dr. Umar, he wants to build this school. Dr. Claude Anderson, he wants you guys to invest in the political system. All of these things, Malcolm X, Malcolm X had all of the right things, tools, right? Oh, we're going to buy from ourselves. Martin Luther King, he had the same dream. Marcus Garvey, the 3 M's, Marcus, Malcolm, and Martin, all removed by the United States, and two killed and 1 deported.
All right.
The solutions they had were nice, but they never talked about leaving America, not even a little bit. See, this is what I say about Farrakhan. Farrakhan can get on TV, maybe you miss it, but he's like, show me where I have ever said that we leave America.
No. He just said recently that we need to have our own land here in America, Black people.
Yeah, in America, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's not talking about leaving America. He's saying in America. Same thing, Malcolm. America should set Elijah Muhammad. America, we should give us like 2 states, and we all live there. We do it. Why you got to be so close to the white man? If he gonna give you 2, he just can't give you plane tickets, and you go to Africa. So much land is free there. You see what I'm saying? It's the mental side that God is saying, like, that's not an option. That's not an option. You see? So I was saying the other day when I was talking to you about you traveling to, you keep traveling back and forth to Africa. That's cool. But you're always traveling by yourself. You're always traveling by because you know how many people. It's really rare for somebody to get enough money and time off at the exact same time to take that trip just to go to Africa because you want to relate with the African. You see, and that's a problem. You see, because I remember myself. I traveled to South Africa. I traveled back from South Africa to Kenya by myself. So I know what it's like. It's an empty feeling, but you're there, you're a Black American, and you're running around in Africa, and it's like, but at the same time, you ain't got to worry about a lot of things like racism and all that, and all that other, okay, is this a good neighborhood, or should I, I got to look out and see if there's any Black people besides me. I'm running into a neighborhood, I'm seeing all these white people, and I'm like, man, I might be in the wrong place. And then you see that one Black guy, and you go, whoo, okay, I'm good. You see, so yeah, so I'm saying all those things, and why should we subject our children to something like that, to that kind of life? The government has put out the statistics, and they have finally announced that this generation of your son, and if I had my children, then my children would be poorer than the previous generation.
True.
For the first time in American history. So where is this solution? Where are you Black people talking about? This is the place. Huh? It's not the place. Huh? Modern Africa is the place. When I say modern Africa, I'm talking about the cities.
Mm-hmm.
The city that if you go there and you squint your eyes a bit, you see something that's like it was in any city USA. It's not exactly like America, but they're not built on the amount of credit and debt that America has been built on. And we've seen some of these cities go into default. And when they come with the next big recession or depression, which people are saying it could be possibly starting tomorrow. You'd be sitting there like, what? Because I was in Kenya in 2008, and Google wasn't as big as it is today. I didn't even know there was a recession. You see, I didn't even feel nothing. You see, because Kenya was insulated because they're not tied into America. And this time around, after they had murdered Gaddafi, you can be sure that the Chinese and the Chinese investments that's inside these African countries today, if America go under, a lot of African countries are not going to follow him. Because leaders stopped doing business with Americans, and Americans was afraid to come into Africa and do business after they murdered Gaddafi. See, even Obama came here with his group, and he left with his group. There was no major investments, although there's Google headquarters in Kenya, and Visa, MasterCard, they have their African headquarters here. But as far as investment from the private sector, U.S. private sector, no, you don't really get that. You never really got that. They're not really, white people not keen on coming in and investing with Africans any way, shape, or form, because they never got rid of the colonialistic, the colonized mindset. See, so they feel like we're better, we're better than the African, but this is not the case. So the case is simply that they have been lying to you. Modern Africa is the place to be. And you see, if you can struggle to survive slavery, then you can survive coming to an African country and starting all over again. It won't take you long to get in the system and start rolling, making money. If you're that type of a person, and it shouldn't be, because Africa is growing, Africa is rising. There's more investment, even more white people, they're saying, are coming into Africa today. I don't see them myself, but they say that the numbers is growing. I'm sure if I went to Nairobi's high side, I'd probably see them. But where I'm at, I don't really get a chance to see them, and that's good because Kenya is big. I can go for weeks without seeing a white person.
Hey, Amenkrahh, somebody says in the chat room, why not migrate to the southeastern U.S. collectively? So, are you familiar with the Republic of New Africa?
The what? The New Africa?
Republic of New Africa.
Is it in Africa?
No.
You know what I'm saying now? Anything, but don't go to Africa. You see? Let's go, Snoop Dogg, but let's go to Brazil, and they killing brothers there. You see what I'm saying? So it's I just say that we need to stop being fooled. I wrote a book on this in 2005. I can put it into put the link to the book in the chat room. Black Man's Guide to Moving to Africa. And when I wrote the book in 2005, it went nowhere. You see, but today many people are interested in it because the situation is getting worse, and more Black people are seeing that. I'm sure that when I'm gonna say when the economic situation in America comes to light and it starts getting worse, people will be saying, "Hey, there was a guy talking about Africa. Africa sounds like it's a pretty good. Let me investigate." You get more people that's going to be taking it a little bit more seriously. Right now, I'm sure you have a lot of Negroes, some in the chat room that are, saying no. You see, but then as things get worse, that tune will change, and I don't mind. If you were against it, I was against it when I was unconscious. But because I have done all this research and lived here, it's it's obvious. It's painfully obvious. I'm here. I think I told you the other a couple months ago I got married. I went down.
Congratulations, Amenkrahh. Congratulations.
went down, paid them cows, and I was surprised. My partner's family is the guy, the uncle. She was raised by her uncle. He's the chief in the area. So I went there. I was saying like, oh, this land, and then his sons came out and were talking to me about what what was going on in their land, and in the upcountry area. And I was like, I was taken aback, and because I'm from the modern African city. I'm not from the from the countryside. I also had a chance to go to some of my old friends' land, because most Africans have land up country, and they usually go there on their vacations. And you go there. Like I went to my friend's his land, and I met his father. He was very old. He's been retired for many decades now. He's almost blind, but he just comes out of the house, sits in his little chair. There's a mountain in a valley. He just beautiful view. Just sits there. They give him tea. His grandchildren play in front of him. When he asks for something, there's like 6, 7 kids there to help him. So this is his idea of the last days. He doesn't have a pension. He doesn't have to worry about Social Security. He doesn't have to worry about taxes. He just sits and I guess reminisce about his life. And I saw how peaceful it was, and how he could just be there and he just relaxed, playing with his grandchildren. And I'm saying many of us as African Americans, we would never know such a thing, because first of all, the younger generation treats the elders like crap. You could be an old man, you'd be on the subway, and goddamn, they give you a seat. You see, and so yeah. So I'm saying, and for me, I'm now 60 years old, and I'm feeling it. I love it. I go somewhere and there's a line or something like that, and like, say, come, you see, and yeah. So this is the type of things that are here that many people can't explain, and they can't see that for all of the nonsense that they want to talk about Africa. They're missing all the great things. And that's the same thing why I have this problem with collagenesis. He's confusing information with knowledge. He's never been to Africa, so he's giving out information, and he's trying to trick like it's knowledge. It's not knowledge. It's just information. It could be right or wrong, but when you know something, that's knowledge. And this is what you get when you sit here 22 years. I know. And so when I'm explaining to you about Africa, and you start talking to me about, okay, there was a terrorist attack in Kenya the other day. What about that? And I'm like, what happened with 9/11? What happened with 9/11? Did you was in California? You was in Texas? You was in Atlanta? Did you feel the earth? Did the terrorists run by your house? If you didn't have television, you wouldn't even know the thing happened. See, did your property values go down? Did they start saying people can't can't travel? No. You see? So it's the same in Kenya. It's the same as in Iraq. People look at Iraq and say, well, I can never go there. There's too much war. And, people are living there, and you go there, and they're saying a lot of that thing is on television. You see?
But that's not confusing. The terrorist attack did happen.
The terrorist attack did happen. And I'm saying that was one. How many terrorist attacks did they have in the United States last year? 2,000 and something. But you don't hear about them because the mass media doesn't talk about them. Go look it up. How many terrorist attacks was in the United States? Some of you in the chat room telling me no. It's 2,000 and something terrorist attacks in the United States. You get one in Kenya, and every Western mass media is there. You can see it in the news. They got the white guy with the camera. He got a fucking.
Here's the problem, Amenkrahh. They allow the white guy with the camera to come in, which is crazy. Like they were exporting the white guy with the camera in the building while the building was still on shutdown or still hot.
Exactly. I understand what you're saying about that particular situation. But the reason why they want white journalists to come into Kenya and show and view Kenya and report on Kenya is because Kenya is a peaceful country. So 364 days out of the year, he just gonna see peace. He gonna go he gonna maybe videotape make a story on some African wildlife, and then go to the bar, pick up a nice, beautiful African chick, and sleep with her and pay her, and go the next day and make another story. But you see, that is the norm. You see, that is the norm. And when when the terrorist attack happened, and you look at these white journalists who are allowed to come into Kenya, they got a badge to allow them to go through it. The police was like, go check. But there would be the Kenyans' mentality is to let the whites show that we, the police, the fire department, the military, it has everything under control. And if you look at the way Kenyans reported it themselves, they were saying this happened, we caught them, they were shot, we are cornered off, we're going to do our search and make sure everything is okay. You see, they're trying to show the rest of the world that we can handle such an attack. But the white media wants to go and put the dead bodies to try to show us mentally that if you go to Kenya, this is what you're going to look like. You see, so that's why Kenya was up in arms about Western media, the Times, the New York Times, putting the pictures of blown up dead bodies, which they would never do in 9/11.
Yeah, but like I said, they were like Kenyan police were literally escorting white journalists into the building while the building was like still, there's a gunfight still going on.
Well, there was no real gunfight. There was no real gunfight. You see now, that's what I'm saying. When I say propaganda, news, and entertainment, it is even in the Kenyan media. There's that, because the sensationalism sells newspapers. So if you look, like I was saying the other day, 2 or 3 of my black belts in Kimpo were on TV. They had the media came to their school, or the media let the school come to the studio, and they did demonstrations of martial arts on national TV, and that was a big thing. But I'm saying they would never do. They're doing that because the political situation is quiet. There's no real excitement in the country, so the media houses have to fill that time span. So when they get something like an actual terrorist attack, damn, they even want to go around and hope, they hope they can find some terrorists because they need to get on, because the news, they need to sell those newspapers. They need to sell that advertisement. So this is what I'm saying. You can see like they can show them around, but the whole point of the negative propaganda media, which is also in Kenya and Africa, so is to find sensationalism and report it. And unfortunately, when they find it, they really know how to exploit it. And this is the case. So, like I was saying in the Garissa attack, where they showed a room for it's on Google in Garissa. They showed like one gunman came and shot 150 people who were laying down on the floor in this auditorium. So they show you the picture of all these dead bodies. Everybody died laying down on the floor, while one gunman went around the room and supposedly shot everybody in the head. And so they took a picture of this and said that this was a Garissa attack. I have to question that. And I said that's one big propaganda, because they only put out that one photo shot of the incident. Then later on, they put out another one with some people with more blood. But the fact of the matter that I'm seeing that a lot in the African media, a lot of propaganda. And this thing with Dr. Mumbe. Dr. Mumbe gets a lot of press because she talks a lot of negative things about Africa. And the majority of her audience are in America. You see, because just like the BBC, sensationalism and negative stories, they sell. You see, like videos of me explaining to the people that modern Africa is your only solution.
Let me ask you this real quick. Tony Smith, thank you for the super chat. Did answer this question, then you can get back to your thoughts on Dr. Mubi. I love Dr. Mubi, by the way. I love Dr. Mubi. Do you feel like blacks in America should only consider moving to Africa, or should they also consider the Caribbean and South America? What are your thoughts?
You can consider any place that is safer and it doesn't impede you or oppress you economically outside the United States. However, Africa is the best solution. You can go to Caribbean because you heard these negative things about Africa, so you said, "Well, let me go to Caribbean. I'm gonna just do, lesser of two evils." They said that I don't know if it's true that Africa is bad, so let me just go to the Caribbean because I don't hear that much about the Caribbean. But you won't get the major economic. You won't get the major economic opportunities that you would get in a modern Africa in the Caribbean, in an island. So there's the point. Now maybe you just want to get by, and you like the tropical weather, but as far as growing a family is concerned, your offspring would have much more opportunities in a modern African city than they would in the Caribbean or in South America or anywhere else. You see, contrary to popular belief, the African runs Africa, not the white man, not the white man in the center. No, he's the one who runs it. He's the one who controls it. So whether they do a good job or a bad job, you can say that even about America's president. They are the ones who are in charge. The African owns, national banks. I mean, he has his own treasury. He has his own military. He runs his own airports. I defy people to go to Kenya and find one white person in government. So how can they run things, really? Some president who has got some back door where there's a white guy telling him what to do. It's nothing like that. We saw that when Obama came. He told Obama where to go with that gayism crap. So so I'm saying this is the mentality, and I don't blame black people to say I won't go to Africa, but I'll go somewhere else. What you need to do, the first step, is to get the hell out of America because it's killing us. Straight and simple. It's imprisoning us. It's pumping us with drugs. It's demoralizing our children. Any which way you go. See, how can they take our history, all the things that we did in America, and make it great, and then they rewrite the history like we didn't do it, and then you continue to stay there. You're only helping them. You're paying taxes. The number one thing America hates is the number one fear America has, more than any other fear, is the black people leaving in mass. They cannot have that. This is why they had to shoot Malcolm. This is why they had to kill Martin Luther King, because they were going to come to the same conclusion. This is why they had to get rid of Marcus Garvey, because when he started buying the Black Star Line and start talking about taking people out of America, that's like taking money. You see,
right?
You taking payers out of America? Oh, that can't happen, man. This is why they're building that rule. Why Trump wants to build that wall. Because they know when the thing goes down and General Motors and all these other companies lay off people and they go into a major recession, blacks are going to jump to try to go to Mexico. And that's why the wall has got to be there. They are talking, we have already said, I showed you the study last time, more Mexicans are leaving the United States. More Mexicans from Mexico are leaving the United States than are coming in. These people that Trump is talking about are coming from other South American countries. They come from Mexico. So you see, this whole thing is a farce. The whole key to this thing is that they don't want black people to leave. They rather murder us off here and use us up as much as they can. Maybe they want to take our kidneys and our organs and our hearts, or they really need us to be entertaining them on the football field and in the basketball court. But they ain't gonna let us just go like that. And they have put a mental system in place to keep us never even thinking about it, leaving the country. And if we do think, it's like Jesus. Somebody tell you Jesus never existed, then you got your natural response. That's not true. Oh, Jesus is there. You attack that person for saying this thing. It's automatic in you. It's the same thing that they did with Africa. You start talking about going to Africa, it's got a mental click in you, a mental chip in you that says, no, Africa's bad. You can't go there. Oh, the Africans don't love us. We've been going through all that.
Right. Yeah.
Chinese is taking over. You see, and it's all nonsense. And this is why I'm saying, forget about all of the sidetrack and just realize that the only solution is for us to move to modern Africa. That's the only way you're gonna get survival of your bloodline. You see, my son here went to boarding school 4 years. He gets out. He's now learning the family business from me. No impediment, no feminism telling me no 70% of black families headed by a woman household. None of that nonsense is here. It's just me, him, family business, fresh air, sunny all year round, no weather, and our family, friends, and our ability to get along. I couldn't ask for anything. I couldn't ask for anything more. So when I sit on, when I go on TV and I'm looking at situations in America and what blacks are complaining about, you can complain all day long. I mean, there's no level, there's no end to the negative situation that we're in. So people like Dr. Umar and all of these Dr. Killers, they can get on the talk show and of all the things they can talk about, they damn sure can talk about black people being the injustice being done to our people in America. They can talk about that all day long. It does an endless situation there. But they couldn't talk about that shit for 1 hour in Kenya. That people would be paying attention to them because it's just not here. The biggest issue with Kenyans, and have I even thought about that? I would say that the biggest issue with Kenyans is, what would you say? What's the biggest issue with paying school fees? Yeah, paying school fees, paying rent, but those are the natural things that go on here, economically. And otherwise, people open up businesses all the time. So if you got a struggle, you can go to friends and help out, and they can help you out. So not like what we have in America. You get in bad financial times, and then you go to your family. You're gonna be homeless. And a black man in Eastern America fears being homeless. And part of that is the fact that when winter comes, nobody wants to be homeless in the eastern part of the United States during the winter time. That's just a psychological impossibility. Because every year you get people got frozen to death in their house because they didn't have gas. But when you come to Africa, you can sleep outside every day. Shit, there ain't no problem.
Right.
It ain't no problem. You understand what I'm saying? I'm sure when you was here, you seen people who basically could sleep outside. They'd rather sleep outside in the fresh air than sleep inside the house. And you can do that all year round in an African country. But you can't do that in the United States because you think that that's your home with all that snow and that killer weather. You think that your African people was living in Pennsylvania and New York in that area in the 16 and 1500s. Wasn't nobody living there. That weather kill you. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't until blacks got there that they could be forced to chop enough wood to keep the white people warm all during the winter. Because if you didn't chop enough wood, you fucked. You see? You're freezing. You understand what I'm saying? When winter come and soak that wood and you ain't chopped it and stored it, you're done. You see? So this is the mentality that we have as black people in the United States. And you have a negative, negative point, a feeling towards Africa, and you should just know that's all been propagandized inside you mentally. Because I'm daring any one of you to come here and tell me that my lifestyle is worse than yours. You see, you get an African here, African American that's in Kenya, and you tell him, okay, you've been living here for 4 or 5 years, you're gonna go back to America. They're gonna tell you, hell no. Maybe to visit, but once you settle in here, that's it. You come to realize. You come to realize slowly, but you come to realize that there was a lot of things done to us. And even the other day, I was walking home, and I was walking home from work, and I still got that thing in me, that survival thing that they have in America, that I got from America. So this guy starts walking behind me. I see him out the corner of my eye. He makes a move that's look, and so I turn, and then I take a few steps, and I kind of glance back, and a car passed by, and I saw his shadow through the car headlights. I'm like, okay, he's not where he's supposed to be, and he's coming closer to me. And so I walked a few steps. I started listening. I heard him. He was right up under me. So just when he got close, I stepped back and turned and caught him right there. And it's this guy I know who didn't want to call my name. I guess he wanted to tap me on the shoulder. And he starts making a conversation. And I was like, man, you know how close you came for me to knocking your ass out? You know, he just didn't never, he never even thought. But you see, that is that's the gift that America has given me as a black man. You see what I'm saying? That survival instinct that I don't need anymore. And my son, I know he don't have it, but because he's in a country that is peaceful. You see? So all I'm saying is that, you know, you may not come to Africa, but you know you should bring your children. You should not put them in a public school, and you should not put them in private school.
Let's see here. Naima Buckner says, is Africa ready for only 100 million of us to come over there, let alone all of us? I generally would like to know. I've never been to Africa, but I want to go. Now, again, this idea that, you know, all of the blacks in America are just going to run to Africa. I mean, that's not going to happen. But go ahead.
Yeah, of course, I know that's a sentiment. But if you've been, if you drove around, I don't know how it is in West Africa, but if you drive around East Africa, shit, even Kenya can support all African Americans. I don't think that this even like that the Kenyans occupy even 10% of the land. You know, because I drive regularly from Mombasa to Nairobi, once every few months. Now I'm cutting down, but and the amount of land that I can travel and look out the window and see, I can travel for like 2-3 hours, and it's just land on both sides of the road. You know, empty there, nothing growing. Anybody can put a city there, and shit, it can support as many African Americans as they want in Kenya. And Tanzania is like 2/3 bigger than Kenya, and they got less people per square mile. So you think like they can all come here, they could come. But I'm saying that you're gonna come in numbers. Nobody's gonna do that. You're not gonna come in numbers. You're not gonna come and join and make a group. No, the African American long since been trained not to go for groups. He's an individual person. And each and every African Black American is going to have to come on his own accord. And once you get here, then you can now decide on who you want to be with, who you want to hang around. It's the same thing. It's like a natural survival mechanism. Black men don't come in packs. They like coming by themselves. You see? And that's an issue. They come here, they come by themselves, they get a few people that they know. And like, many African Americans have come here, they met me, they see me, hey, you know, they spend like 30 minutes. Some of them I spent 2 days with one brother, and neither one of us could stand each other's company in 2 days. You know, so he's like, brother, I want to do this, and let me say, even me, I want to go this way. So this is fake. This thing of we need to join together and all move in a group. Nothing like that's ever going to happen. The white man knows this, and that's why he promotes that. You see, so you're going to organize yourself into one big group. No, he can infiltrate that. He can add his spies in there, you know, and he can manipulate that thing any way the way he wants. The same thing that he did with the March on Washington. They took it over through the back door. So by the time Martin Luther King got on and talking about he had a dream, the march was nothing like the dream they had at the beginning of the march. They was going to march on Washington. Blacks was going to march on Washington. God damn it, I'm tired. You see? Right. You know. Well, yeah. The Million Man March is the same thing. What did it accomplish? The second one, it made you even look like fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. No, it was fool me once and fool me twice. 2 Million Man marches and shit came from there. You see what I'm saying? You know, if they would have had me there, I would have told them, turn around, go to the nearest airport, get on the plane, give America the finger, and say goodbye, I'm out. You know, and that's what it's gonna come down to. You've been mistreated so badly. Even if there's few people that come, remember when you get to the airport, do what I did. I wanted to turn around and look back, but then I started thinking about how America fucked me over so many goddamn ways, and I was like, shit. Think I'm out. You see? So, you know, and I'm proud of that fact that I was able to. I didn't go to Africa. When I landed in Kenya, I didn't go kissing the ground. You know, I was like, okay, what's up now? Let's see what we're gonna do now. You see? But everywhere I went, I found that you know, the whole thing was different from what they told me. You know, they told, you know, like my son here. I was asking him the other day, have you ever been stopped by the police? He's never been stopped by the police. Ever talked to you when, you know, handcuffed you, told you to get on the ground? Now, have you ever met a drug dealer? You better not. And I'm telling you, this is a case. It's so simple. You come and you give your children a decent life, away from all that. You know, do you know what a blood is? Did I ever tell you what a crip was? No, you know, my son, he just started living with me not a few months ago. So I'm learning a lot from what he doesn't know, and he's learning a lot about me. And you know, he's probably going to be with me for some time. He's making my life easier, taking over tasks for me. I can't wait till he's able to run my investments here, and then I can sit back at home and you know, play with my grandchildren. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, brother. So, Amenkrahh, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out. Real quick, Amenkrahh, if you could tell people, give people a brief overview of, you know, why you moved to Africa, where you were living, where you're from, and then how everyone could reach you.
Yeah, I wanted to do that at the beginning. I wanted to say, for people that don't know me, who is Grandmaster Amenkrahh? And I hold several titles. You know, I was a high school varsity track and cross country champion. I'm a computer operator for several Fortune 500 companies. I'm a Rio Hondo College Police Academy graduate, criminal justice major. I'm an entrepreneur I was an entrepreneur in the US and in Kenya. I'm a martial art instructor and a school owner. I'm a 10th degree black belt and grandmaster. As you know, I'm giving a seminar next Sunday in Nairobi. It's already almost sold out. I was the chairman of the Kenya Kempo Federation for 12 years. I'm a graphic designer, web designer, and internet service provider. I'm a computer programmer and founder of the website ccgate.com, a digital education website. I'm a digital education specialist. And most of all, I'm a husband and father raising 4 kids. So this is basically who I am. And the thing I'm most proud of is the fact that I'm a father and I'm able to raise my kids and keep them safe from harm, which is a very easy task with where I live today. So that is me. I created I'm on Facebook on the Black Man's Guide to Moving and to Living and Doing Business in Africa. That Facebook site is 8 years old. I was doing this 8 years ago, talking about moving that when it was not even a thought in anybody's mind. And today, more because the United States situation is getting worse, more and more Black people are thinking about it, and that's all I can hope for. And I say that if you're not able to come for various reasons, and I understand many of those reasons, America is stopping us from being able to economically come, or because of the justice system, we can't come. But you can send your kids here. My son went to boarding school, and he went in a young boy and came back a man. And it was just easy for me to take over and give him the proper training he needed. And so it is probably cheaper, less expensive for an African American to send their boy away from the gangs and the drugs and all that harmful things to a boarding school in a modern African country, and then allow them to get orientated with African friends and business people, so that the transition is much easier for them than it would be for you. Many people from other countries send their children to boarding schools where they're kept in an environment that is safe. Because of the exchange rate, Sending them to a boarding school would be far cheaper. They could probably be in a really, really great, expensive boarding school, and it would cost, in American money, it would cost you surprisingly little. And of course, with social media, you can talk to them anytime. It's just like they would be next door, like like they were in the next state. But definitely, if you see your children suffering and you can't stomach having that talk with them, then you should consider at least sending them to modern Africa for education, quality education, and the ability to make friends and establish contacts in that African country. Okay.
Perfect. Everyone, thank you so much for super chatting. I really appreciate the super chats. Thank you so much. Guys, make sure you go to search for Huru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also like and share the material. Again, if you're not super chatting, the least you can do is like and share. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru, Grandmaster Amenkrahh. Peace.
Peace.